Hi, ladies and gentlemen. This is Shelly Kraft from SNN Live. We're at the LD Micro main event in Bel Air, California, 2014. I have with me Seth Yakatan of Katan Associates. Welcome to SNN Live.
Thank you, Dr. Kraft.
So, you know what I really want to know is, you're my biotech guru. What's going on in the biotech markets for microcaps? It's the end of 2014. You're in it. You're in the trenches. You know the scuttlebutt. You hear the whispers. You tell me.
Well, it's getting harder. There's been a party going on for the last 18 months, and a lot of people have made money, a lot of people have taken money, and a lot of stocks have gone out. And I just don't know how much longer that remains. Some of the underwriters that you and I talk to seem to be pulling back on their desire to do these deals. There's still a lot of money out there, and there's still a lot of investor interest. So I think strike while the iron is hot is probably what I would tell people on the microcap side.
So is it a matter of like going from 0 to 100 miles an hour back to 40 miles an hour, and does it really take the valuations to a lower level, or is it just that the money is not going in at all?
I don't know. What we saw after 2008 was complete nuclear winter. I think without some kind of broad environmental event like someone setting off a bomb in Times Square, I don't know that you reset to that level. But I think it gets harder. I think a lot of companies tend to be constrained by the choices that they've made in their own capital structure. So I think you see, punitive valuations as a result of failure to execute or toxic structures, not necessarily broader market conditions. If you look at some of the companies that continue to maintain momentum in the space, like Gilead and like Celgene, or even like a GW Pharma, doesn't seem like anything wants to set those guys back. So I think a lot of it's very company specific.
So what is the trajectory of the next big molecule coming into the market? Is it cancer? Is it diabetes? You tell me. Is it lupus?
I'm seeing a lot of interest in orphan diseases right now. Look, I think cancer from a research dollar perspective, from a company dollar perspective, is probably going to be number one always. Things that I think could potentially come back into favor are things like Alzheimer's disease. You've seen a huge uptick in cancer immunotherapy in the last 9 months. 3 years ago, I couldn't get somebody to take a meeting for a cancer immunotherapy company. If I had to pick, I like orphan diseases a lot. I also have seen some very, very interesting strategies recently where people are taking a strategy of effectively trying to bring a lower priced biologic to market to compete against something that's approved and might not be fully reimbursed, or might be fully reimbursed and not fully penetrated. So if I had to pick, I'd probably say those areas, and potentially Alzheimer's, potentially.
So in your going about, right, which country is really coming up from nothing in this market? Because when we go to the international conferences and we see all of these countries, trials are going on in places you never even expected to have the hospital structure that they have today. And I think that that's another growth area, because a lot of companies seem to be doing their trials overseas.
I'm seeing a lot of interesting stuff come out of South Korea. For those that are involved in the biotech space or the life sciences space, South Korea is a known country. There's very good science. There's a large healthcare infrastructure there. But I'm seeing a lot of crossover companies from there recently where I haven't seen them. Places like Australia and Israel and places like that tend to be a little bit more well discovered. But I'm seeing some really interesting stuff come out of South Korea these days. So
expectations. I'm going to go back. Your gut feeling for 2015, is it an up year for biotech, down year, flat year?
Flat to up. I'm not a politician or a politically oriented person, but I don't think much is going to change while the Obama administration is still around. So, outside of some major environmental event, I don't see the market, broadly selling off in the sector between now and then. I do think you're going to see a lot more M&A. I think you're going to see AZ get bought. I think you're going to see Mylan. Something's going to happen there. I think you're going to see one or two other pretty big deals happen. So I think that consolidation is going to continue. A company that we were remotely involved with a lifetime ago, Avenir Pharmaceuticals, which was founded by my cousin, got bought this week for $3.5 billion. So essentially on one drug. So I think that you're going to see a lot more of that. But I think if you're a MicroCap and you're trying to do that $6 to $8 million deal at a 20% discount to market with 100% warrant coverage, that's going to be harder.
So you're going to Biotech Week? Let's get right down to it.
Yeah, I don't think I'd be able to be a biotech guru if I wasn't up at JP Morgan, was I?
How can I not end on that note? So, ladies and gentlemen, Seth Yakatan from Katan Associates. What's your website?
KatanAssociates.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, Shelly Kraft, SNN Live, and we're coming to you from the LD Micro main event in Bel Air, California, 2014. Always.